Good evening. This is Fred Blanchard, host for Adrenaline Motorsports. You're listening to Adrenaline Radio. I have in-house a return guest, Steve Montrelli, and I had him on the program here a couple of times before, a few weeks past. And a lot of the things that he expressed that were very, very interesting and very things that were related to drag racing in the early days and his experiences. But this weekend he was out at the NHRA Winter Nationals, the first event of the year. And having that first event of the year was also the 50th anniversary of NHRA, the promoted drag race called the Winter Nationals, of course. And we had a chance to go and view. They had a whole area of nostalgia drag cars. It was very impressive. Guys that brought cars that they had been saving for years, put away in the garages and the areas that they had restored cars, and some were just brought out to display and show how drag racing started. Most of that started again here on the West Coast. And it was very interesting. And then we had a lot of the icons in the motorsport. We had Don Garlitz here and Shirley Muldowney, of course, and Connie Coletta and Chris Karamessinis. These are all icons of drag racing in the early years. And I got to tell you that during that time there were so many different cars run. And again, Steve Montrelli was part of that. And I wanted Steve to talk a little bit about some of the things that went on that are behind the scenes, so to speak, in the motorsports industry. Things have come about to where cars now are changing and moving forward with a lot of the ideas, and so they're constantly having to be looked at. Steve, why don't you elaborate a little bit on some of the areas that NHRA has come across? I know that they've gone international, and they have, in fact, a couple of dragsters out here that from Europe, I guess, from what I can tell. I think one was from Germany and the other one was from the Netherlands. A Thomas Natas and also an Andy Carter from Europe. And it was their, I guess, lifetime dream to show up at the drag strip and run their car just in an event. Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw out there and give us some highlights here.
Well, I believe that the Andy Carter car had a Don Garlitz kind of helped them out, and they put Don Garlitz's name on the car to come out to this race, and I believe at Phoenix this coming weekend, so he could stay out here and be interviewed and get some ink. The race was real good. There was, like you say, a lot of the old timers there, and there was probably 70 to 80 of the old nostalgia type cars, dragsters, altereds, coupes, roadsters. A lot of the guys that I haven't seen, some of them from the East Coast for 30 years, and they're all out here because it's the 50th anniversary, and this is basically where it all started. The race was real good. The top fuel, Tony Schumacher and Larry Dixon met up in the semifinal, which those are the two that ran the final round at the World's Finals. They both ran a 379.8, and
that's the lapse time you're talking about, right?
Both of them ran identical speeds and identical ETs, and Dixon put a whole shot on Schumacher, and won the race. So they're both right there. They're going to be fighting each other throughout the whole year. In funny car, Worsham ran real good. Robert Height with a Force car. Worsham with Alan Johnson car. The Melanie Troxel car that just came out, sponsored by
that's In-N-Out Burger, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, In-N-Out Burger.
That's a funny car, isn't it, Steve?
Well, it's a funny car, Dodge funny car. She's going to run maybe 10 to 12 races this year. Basically, it's going to be on the West Coast type thing because they don't have any
enough sponsorship, I guess.
They don't have no stores on the East Coast.
Oh, I see.
So,
all right.
So they're going to just do 10 or 12 races. And then there's been some talk out there that a few of the guys are, after this race, they don't know what they're going to do because of the economy with some of the big-name guys.
Let's elaborate a little bit on that. One of the cars that you normally see out there, I think it's Don the Snake Prudhomme. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Don did retire. He was out there with his replica of his 1972 Barracuda with his truck that he used to go down the road with when we all used to have trucks, and we'd have the cars on the back of them, and you could see the car, you could see everything going down the road, and it would get wet and it would get dirty, and when you got to wherever you were going, you had to clean the truck, the race car, everything, and get all the water out of everything. Don is definitely, I would say, probably not going to run anymore, but probably if there's any chance, he's going to probably keep everything for 1 year. That's my guess. That doesn't mean I'm right. I've heard rumors already that everything is up for sale. There has been a rumor on the internet as of today that Don might do a nostalgia funny car, which would just be great for the sport.
Well, I think that's what we're also hearing, that there's more than just Don doing this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, rumors have it that John Force has, if you were at Pomona, you would have saw that he went over to all the guys because, you know, he knows them all, and he went to all the nostalgia cars at the starting line and talked to the drivers and talked to the owners and, you know, shook their hands, whether he knew them or not, to say that he was very impressed with what the cars looked like and how they ran. So rumor there is now that John Force is going to come out with a nostalgia funny car also.
What's NHRA thinking about the nostalgia funny car deal? Have you heard anything about that?
Well, it looks like, going back just a little bit, it looks like because what we're seeing now, the nostalgia group is getting enormous, and we're talking 65 to 75 cars now, all over the United States. And there's other guys now that have the Double B funny car, alcohol funny cars that run NHRA or used to run IHRA. They're taking their Double B funny cars, which are alcohol cars, and they're going to convert them and change the bodies and go to the nostalgia funny cars, because they'll have maybe 6 races a year, maybe more. If they get enough of them that can all work together, they might be able to go back there and start match racing like we used to do in the 60s and 70s.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it takes to make a nostalgia funny car from, say, a current chassis? What does a guy have to do if he had found a car that he could buy? It sounds like it's something that a guy could run less expensive than what's running out there today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, some of the owners and drivers of the NHRA cars that have been put away because of the new rules are sitting at some of these shops, and like Del Worsham's shop, they took some of their chassis that they had built in-house that are not legal today for the big show, but they're plenty good for nostalgia funny cars. And what they've done is they've modified the chassis a little bit so the body would go on, and then there's a place back east and a place out here in Arizona that there's like 6 or 7 different funny car bodies that you can buy that are from 1969 to 1979.
What I'm hearing also, Steve, is that a lot of the big teams with a lot of money are actually building their own cars and their own engine parts. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Schumacher has all of his Top Fuel cars that were at Pomona this year, and his funny cars are all built in-house now. So they have the control. They know exactly what they're doing with every car. There should be no reason why the car can't come right out of the box, out of the trailer, and go right down a racetrack. It's not like I got a new car this week and I got an old car last week.
Well, I got to tell you, Steve, that is all really interesting news that's come out of the first race of the year. It's really surprising that so many changes are coming about.